thanks you guys for the intro on that. And just a little bit about myself. I started my career in law enforcement, federal law enforcement, work at the maximum security penitentiary down there at Marion, which took the place of Alcatraz. So there's a lot of whole stories there, but what ended up happening was after a couple of years working there, I realized I needed a healthy outlook or a healthy hobby of some sort to kind of take my mind off of some of the things that were going on at that place. It's just working, behind the fence. It was just like, okay, I think I'll try something besides drinking and chasing skirts. So I took up painting, and after a while, I realized I need to, out of the how-to books, I needed to learn how to get my own images, and I took up photography as well. And what ended up happening was I could now create 100% my own, original images. And so I was kind of perfecting those crafts a little bit as time went on. And around the mid 90s, we started an art center there in Marion. One of the founding members of the art center, then helped start the camera club in there. That brought in several more members. I got into mural painting along the way. Then I was able to retire in 2008. So I've been retired, 14 years now. Man, it's gone by fast. We've made several treks down to Florida. Haven't been through the Sarasota area, but that's what I look like. And that is one of these Kelvin Piemont, I'm going to talk about him, backgrounds. And you'll see a lot of that in this video right here that we're going to be doing. So then after I retired, somebody gave my name up and said, hey, he could teach photography. And when they called me up at John A. Logan College, the local community college, and said, would you like to teach photography? I said, how'd you get my name? Who gave me up? I said, you got to let me think about this because I've never taught photography. And he said, well, you just kind of create some lesson plans and go from there. Well, that's where the real work's at, in creating lesson plans. And so I ended up creating 72 lesson plans for beginner photography classes. Started out the first year, and then the second year I taught intermediate advanced. And right now I'm teaching basic post-production at the Art Center, and showing some of the students there some of the tips and tricks I'm going to show you guys tonight. So without further ado, let's rock this joint. All right, I'm going to bring this up, and the first half of this webinar, I'm going to go into slide mode. I created kind of a slideshow, and I'm going to talk about how I'm working creatively in post-production area, and all the unique software that's out and coming out. It's just amazing what's going on there, and the things you can do, and what I look for as a painter, as a photographer, and what I look for as far as filters that I might want to apply to a photo I've taken, and what I might do with the sliders in that software. So the first half of this, I'll give you kind of a slideshow and kind of let you get into the inner thoughts inside my cranium, which is really, there's about 3 brain cells left still firing, but I'll give you the best I got out of those 3 and show you what I'm doing. And then the second half, I will actually do a live presentation on, and I'll talk out loud of what I'm clicking on, why I'm clicking on it, maybe where I'm going, why I want to do what I want to do to the image. And the whole idea of this thing is just to give you guys ideas that you might not have thought about. Some of you have probably played in some of this. I'm sure a lot of you have played in Photoshop, and maybe some of you haven't. I'm a Photoshop guy. I'm old school. I took Photoshop classes from Steve McLaughlin in the late 90s. He's an Adobe certified Photoshop teacher. We just happen to have him in our midst in Southern Illinois, and he's amazing. So let's kick this thing off. Here's what I'll cover tonight. I'll be talking about photographs is just the beginning. You're out hunting with a camera all the time, and you're looking for unique angles. You're looking for unique lighting. You're looking for unique subject matter. You're looking for just something that's got that wow factor. So kind of cool shot. You're out hunting. You're a hunter. So you got a camera in your hand. Well, that's half the battle. And when I ask my students in the photography class, how many of you guys raise your hands? How many of you guys do post-processing? In the beginner class, I might get out of 15, 20 students, I might get 1 or 2 hands go up that they do post-processing. So in the intermediate advanced class, I ask the same question. First class, how many hands? Show me hands. Maybe 3, maybe 4. And it's like, whoa, there's a big jump in your photography if you can do at least basic post-production. So there's an obvious need out there for it. Doing it up there at the Art Center right now. So, but that's half the fun, is out there looking for that unique shot or angle or lighting or subject matter. And then when you come back to the house, you sit down with your computer, and now the hunt begins again for that perfect filter that when you click on it, it says, oh, there it is. There it is. I got it. Oh, oh, it's beautiful. The software has advanced so much in the last 5-10 years. It's amazing. I'll also show you the software I use with demonstrations, and I'll give you some before and after examples. So let's move on. The software I'll be using tonight, I'm not a Lightroom guy. I looked at Lightroom, played in a little while, but I thought, Photoshop can do all this stuff. Lightroom can do some amazing things that Photoshop is fair at, or there's a few things it can't do, but Photoshop is still the king. Topaz Studio, which is free. If you go to Topaz site, I've got it on my desktop here. My laptop doesn't want to play it for some reason. I'll have to work out the bugs on that. I also use Topaz Studio 2, which has got AI Clear in it, which sharpens and denoises at the same time. A lot of pros make that a permanent part of their workflow. Topaz 2 AI Clear. It's around $100. I highly recommend it. I'll recommend all these. Luminar 4, right now, they're giving it away for free. If you hadn't noticed it or haven't seen it anywhere, Luminar 4 is free right now. Jump all over it. And I'll show you some stuff in Luminar 4 tonight. It's amazing what it can do. The Kelvin Piemont brushes, I'll show you those tonight. And all these backgrounds that I've got right here, every single background that I created this slideshow, these are all Kelvin Piemont backdrops. So, okay, without further ado on all that, I'm going to go into the 2 camps out there, the savers and the deleters. And there's a good reason why I'm talking about this. And the reason being is you're either a saver, save everything that you just process the images that you like and want to save and file away everything else, or you delete along the way. And if you're a deleter, you have my utmost sympathies right now. And most people are deleters. Most of my students were deleters. And it's like, do I like this one or not? It's a maybe photo. Is it good? Do I delete it? Should I keep it? Well, I solved that problem last year. I bought 2 14 terabyte external hard drives. And I did this last year. And I took all those little smaller portable hard drives that I had, and I dumped all the images on both those hard drives. I think I got 9 or 10 terabytes worth of images after 10, 12 years of digital photography. I still got roughly 4 terabytes left. I don't delete anything. And there's a good reason why. Because of all those mediocre photos and I'm going to show you mediocre photos tonight. That's my evil plot. What can you do with mediocre photo? Well, you deleters will never know because you've deleted them all. And I'm going to show you what you can do with some of those. All right. The other two camps. Okay. I run with a guy, a local guy he is a as shot guy. He doesn't want to mess. He doesn't want to add anything. He doesn't want to do a composite. He wants to do the most minimal post-production that he can. And he may do a little cropping, may do a little sharpening, and then he'll take out the border junk and, get his horizon lines squared up. And that's it. Don't ask for anything more out of him. So why he's riding with a guy like me is beyond me, because I'm square up in the post-processing camp where anything goes. Anything goes. You don't want to steal anybody else's stuff. Just use your own stuff, or you can buy it. You can buy cloud scenes or sky scenes or whatever. Add those in. It's perfectly fine. But I will always look at an image as the final edit. I want it improved over the original shot, if at all possible. And whatever it takes, if I want to go into the artistic realm, if I want to just sharpen it and file it away, whatever. But I want to play in post-production. I do not want it to be a chore. It's got to be fun. So when you start looking at all these creative filters out there, there's a lot of fun to be had. I'm telling you, there's a lot of fun. You can have a ball out there playing with these things. So here's an example of a mediocre photo. And have you ever taken one? Do I see any heads nodding out there? Up and down? Mediocre? Yes, there's some nodding heads. I see them. Well, all the pros take mediocre photos. They just don't admit it. Because they're all professionals. So, but here's an example. Top left corner. You get out there and it's like the light's gone to crap. So it's a mediocre shot. The lights. All right. You bring in a dramatic sky scene, and whoa, top right corner. It's like, now I'm looking at something. You go down there to Luminar 4 and put in a big sunburst with God rays and beams shooting out everywhere. Now you got something. That's a mediocre photo turned into something that's got the wow factor. And all you deleters, you might want to start thinking about that. Don't toss them anymore. A 14 terabyte hard drive is $240 at Amazon, and it will store a good 10 years worth of your photographs. Especially if you're a deleter, you can probably store 20 years worth of photography. I've got hundreds of thousands of photos on those two 14 terabyte hard drives. I'm not deleting nothing, but now when I pass on to my rewards, God forbid the person that has to go through all that, God help them. That's a lot of imagery. Okay, how do I decide which image to run filters on? If it's an excellent shot to begin with, why mess with it? If you've got the light, you got the subject matter, you got that great shot, just clean it up, whatever little that you got to do, sharpen it a little, and file it away in whatever file you've got that says, hey, this is my good stuff. I look for those mediocre images that have possibilities, and therefore I'm not going to delete anything. When I started out as a painter, and my mindset's a little bit different than the average photographer. When I started out as a painter, I was in film. It's all film. So I'm looking at, okay, this barn, and I got a photo of a really good sunset on this other 4x6 Walmart, processed image. And I've got this really cool gnarly tree over here. So I was looking at reference photos. So I was saving everything, even from the beginning. So my mindset's really never changed about getting rid of any photos. So I look at the backgrounds really closely. If the subject matter is sharp and in focus, then I can play with the rest of the image. Move it around, whatever. Observe what other photographers are doing with filters, then practice on a similar image that you might have. couple ideas there. I'm going to throw ideas at you here now. Marry the right filter to the right image. And it's just like hunting for images with your camera. Look for that filter that works best. How will you know? It's like a horn. You know it when you hear it. You notice I didn't say porn. You know it when you see it. I was trying to clean my act up here a little bit. It's like a horn. You know it when you hear it. So as soon as you hit that filter that just nails that, it's like, whoa, that just jumped to another level. File it. You got it. And there's the hunt again. You're in the hunt. You've been in the hunt in the field. Now you're in the hunt in the filters. And there's On One, there's Topaz, there's Photoshop's got some filters. There's just several outfits out there that have filters that you can play in. And there's a lot of fun to be had there. Here's another before and after original image. You spend the money to hire a guide, or you drive for 2, 3, 5 hours, 8 hours, someplace. You got hotels booked, you got travel, you got food expenses, gas. You get there and the light's gone to crap. You still got to stay there because, hey, you booked hotels, you're in there with a group, the light's gone. All right, I got a really bad sky behind my barn. Boom, bottom left, you pop a Photoshop sky replacement in there. And you got something now. You got something that you can show on Facebook. You got something you can show to your friends, Instagram, whatever. So then I took it on the bottom right. I took it to another level. I went into Nero Filters, which finally Photoshop upgraded at least a little bit of their filters. And I'll show you Nero Filters here towards the end. And Nero Filters, I could turn it into a winter, spring, summer, or fall scene. I went fall. I popped in a Kelvin Piemont moon in there. I used the Piemont brushes to brush in fog. And it turned the scene from late fall to kind of a more of a brownish fall scene. And, the colors are a little bit juiced up, but it's like, okay, just showing you some of the possibilities here. Painterly filters. I love them. Being a painter myself, that's where I'm going to go with these things. And a lot of the times these things work. If you've got a simple subject matter where you can see the brush strokes, the strokes in the painterly strokes, you can turn your photos into art, hang them on the wall. For the most part, I find the painter filters work best on simple images without a lot of clutter in them. That way you can see, the nice effects that those filters put on your photos. All right. HDR, probably, maybe my guess, just from my teaching students and talking to them about HDR, we occasionally brought that up in class. Not a lot of them doing it. And I'd say most camera clubs, I've been in 3 camera clubs. There's not a lot of HDR super fans out there, but there are some that like that hyper realism. Me, I'm not much on the hyper realism, but here's the key. In Topaz, you got one HDR warmer filter that puts a little vignette, dark vignette, like in the tractor scene up there around the edges. And vignettes do one thing consistently. They take the border out of play so much, and it has a way of focusing your eye on the main subject matters. So it focuses you on the tractor and the barn. But the key here with any HDR filter is to play with the sliders where you can back off that ultra realism and bring it back down to just a kind of a nice, sharp, crisp image, and not have that ultra realism, extra crispy, looking image. Like the shot of the mill here, I used a deep depth of field on my camera so I could get the log, I could get the water, and I could get the mill all in focus. And I use a super slow shutter speed, 1/10 of a second roughly, to get the veiled over water look. And then I liked it when I got it home and got it on the big screen, but I'm thinking it just needs a little bit more. So I ran an HDR filter, Topaz filter on it, I think it was. And then I just backed off the sliders a little bit to get just that right sharpness that I wanted. So you can look all the way through at the scene and then back out again. So don't just discount HDR altogether, because with the sliders, you can really get some nice crisp images. And that brings me to seeing your vision out in the field with your camera in your hand while you're out there photographing. Oftentimes I will think, okay, what could I do with this with filters or creatively in post-production? And I immediately knew, right, well, I already had the vision when I saw this little maple tree coming up in the forest. It had a little bit of light on it. The leaves were all brown, so the red didn't pop out near as good. I thought to myself, okay, how can I get this background to fade out? And I thought, okay, just make a selection of the leaves and the stems and then turn the background into black and white. And then I think I ran a Buzz Slim filter on it after the black and white, and it made this little startup tree pop right out of there. So it's a modified black and white, but it's got a pop factor. It just pops. And I really didn't juice up the colors on those leaves much at all. It pretty much was how I saw it. Going back into vignettes, like the thistle on the left there, I think I ran a painterly filter, put a vignette on it, and it just took everything else out, and it just focuses your eye right where it wants to go, where the photographer wants you to go. With the bird, I could use a vignette, make it a second layer in Photoshop, put the vignette on top of and it covered the bird. So then I just erased it out and the bottom layer showed through, which was just the bird. So I'll show you a little bit of that once I get going. So sky replacement. All right. Any of you guys out there do sky replacements? Yeah, no heads, no. Yeah. It's all right. You're adding to the photo, but I'm beyond caring whether people worry about it. If I added something to a photo, if you take something out of a photo, you've altered it. If you've cropped it, you've altered it. It wasn't as you saw it. You've altered it. If you do anything to the photo in post-production, you've altered it. I'm altering it in various ways. Whatever way I can think to make my photo look the best it possibly can look, I'm going to do it. So for years, for centuries, artists have had the ability to put whatever sky they wanted into their photos, sunset scenes. I've done it a million times with paintings. Put whatever sky, I get a photo. I like this sky. I like the way the clouds are here. That'll complement, the foreground elements that I've got in the scene. But now in the last 3 years, we've just hit the beginning, I think, of the golden age of post-production software in photography. We're just getting into it. Photoshop's been around since the 80s, I guess it is. So that really took it to another level. Lightroom also took it to another level to a certain degree. A lot of Lightroom stuff was stolen from Photoshop. Then Adobe bought out Lightroom because it's either crush the competition or buy them out. And Adobe, I think, did the right thing and bought Lightroom out. And somebody at Lightroom got very wealthy. So good for them. But this eagle shot was shot up in Iowa last week, the bottom one. And it's like, okay, it's a cool shot of him coming in. Simple elements. You're just a bird and a branch. But it needed something because there's a lot of dead space. There's a lot of negative space around that bird and that branch. So on the way home, I was photographing sky scenes. And I thought, okay, look at that sky. And the sky scene on the top eagle shot there is of the next day. Then I got home, married the two together, and I like that one much better than the bottom one. So, but it's all a matter of personal taste. You have every right to play with your photography and play, you should. Okay. Boy, look at all those warning signs. Oh my God. What have we just gotten into? Nero filters are massive memory hogs. Most laptop computers are not up to the task, folks. Okay, I'll give you an example. A couple of weeks ago, I thought I'd be cute in the classroom and show my basic post-production students the Nero filters. And I bought a laptop 3 months ago, a honking fast laptop, so I could teach this class, this post-production class. And I specifically said, I want 32 gig of RAM. I want the top video card in it. I want top processor in it. I want probably a gaming laptop. And the local computer guys set me right up with exactly what I asked for. And then I brought up Nero filters in Photoshop in the classroom a couple of weeks ago, and my students were following right along with me because they all had to have Photoshop as part of the class. And we locked up every single laptop all at once in my classroom. Everybody's watching spinning dials, and I'm going, OMG, to borrow one of my daughter's favorite sayings. And so most of us just had to shut our computers down and reboot. I've got a desktop computer here that can handle it, but my brand new laptop still cannot do Nero filters. It could do everything else in Photoshop. It handles Topaz, it handles Luminar, everything else just fine. But here's the thing. The AI technology has outpaced the computer's ability to handle that kind of processing memory load. A good desktop computer with a massive memory and processing is recommended. You can try Nero filters on your laptops. Maybe some of you have already done it. Maybe some of you are, don't have spinning wheels going around for an hour. Great. But I saw it firsthand lock up six laptops all at once. Boom. So well, there's the warning. So that's pretty much the first half of this webinar. And so what I'm going to do now is get into showing you some tips and tricks that I have learned along the way. Oh my God, get rid of that guy. He keeps showing up. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this Sarasota Camera Club filter. Anybody heard of this outfit? Anybody know any Sarasota people? Okay. First one. Let me scoot this over so I can see what I've got there. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you right into Luminar first and blow your little minds. Okay. I'm going to open up Luminar 4. Boom. There it is. Okay. Oh, I'm going to have to shrink this down because I've got you all over there on the side. That's okay. Let me see. Can I move this around? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ooh, look at there. Okay. I can bring it back up now. Full screen. All right. Here we go. This is a mediocre shot of a mediocre sunrise. For all you folks who throw away those mediocre shots, prepare to be amazed. Okay. You go to this artist palette over here on the right, and you go to sun rays. Boom. And then you go right here. It says place sun center. Now watch this. I'm going to click it. What's one left click? And see that dot showed up right there? I'm going to go over there with my mouse. I use a mouse on my desktop here. And I'm going to left click and drag it right there where the sun's coming up. And I'm going to sit it right there. Now, then I come down to this slider under the sun rays, and I'm going to go to 25. Boom. Now you guys are going like, oh, wow. Kris Killman is playing with the sun. The power I have at my fingertips is amazing. Okay. Overall look. Boom. I can go lighter, darker. And I'm going to play with this sunbeam because it's overpowering right now. This is not something I'd show like this. I'm going to play with it. This is where the sliders come in. Sun ray length, sun rays length. I like that one right there because I can go, ooh, look at there. I can bring it down to where it's manageable and it's going to be a little bit more realistic. I'm not there yet. There's advanced settings down here. Here's penetration slider, which is kind of a glow. It affects the glow in the center of the sun and it affects the glow of the beams coming out. That one does. So then number of sun rays, look at this. I'm so powerful. I can change the number of rays down to just maybe a few here or a whole bunch. And when I slide it back and forth, it just kind of spins it. So I'm master of the universe. I am blowing out a Florida. No, this is a Georgia sun. We were in Georgia on this one. This is down there on the coastline. Sun radius. Okay, I can see how that glow right there. I can bring that glow in and out right there. I can do that. Sun glow radius, pretty much a similar thing. I don't know the difference between the two. And if I don't know what a particular tool in Photoshop does, because I don't use them all, I'll tell my students, I don't know what that does. And I'll do the same with you guys. I, just keep it real. So then you got the sun glow amount. It's pretty much the same as both those other two. And then there's this sun warmth slider. Okay, it doesn't do much. You can't see much difference here, but watch this. Sun rays warmth, the bottom one below that, watch how the sun rays warm up. I brought it over to 100%. I'm going to bring it back down to 0. Okay, I'm going to go somewhere in between. And the sun ray length, I'm going to drop that down a little bit more, make it a little bit more realistic. And I'm going to bring the number of sun rays down a little bit. I can still move that thing around a little bit if I want to. This would be good in a forest scene. You got a forest out in front of you. You got the sun back in the background. You could pop this through your trees. You can do this on any sunrise, sunset. I'm just throwing ideas at you. You can drop this on your kid's forehead if you want to. You just, whatever you want to do, you the artist. Now see, I drop it down in, oh, it's going below the sunset, and it actually looks like it's going below the sunset for the most part. So play with your photography. It's fun. Let's see here. Penetration, I'm going to drop that down. So I can, okay. So that's really about the only one in, now I'm going to, let me see if I can shut that off. Oh, the sky replacement, I think originally came out in Luminar 4. Photoshop saw that as a big, we better get on it. Competition is good. And Photoshop had to get on the stick. Photoshop came out with theirs, and I saw some videos on it. Photoshop did better on sky replacement than Luminar 4. But if you don't want to play in Photoshop much, or don't know how to play in Photoshop much, Luminar 4 is free right now. Jump all over it. It's got sky replacement. We got dramatic scenes. I could turn this into a dramatic scene. That's a little too crispy. Local contrast, that's a little too crispy. You can brighten it up, darken it down. There's several things you can do in Luminar that you can do in Photoshop too. So I'm going to exit out there. Glow, you can film grain. You can put fog in here. I don't play with those too much. Augmented skies, mystical looks, matte looks. Just some of the things you can do with Luminar 4. All right, moving on. Okay. let's see what else we got here that I was going to show you guys. Oh, the opening slide. Let's go into that with Photoshop. Open with, where's my open with? There it is. Photoshop. Boom. All right, I'm going to go J. J is the shortcut for the patch tool, the healing brush tool. J is the shortcut. I use shortcuts. I tell all the students my shortcuts. So I make a sample out here. I'm going to take out the moon right there. Okay. Remember that opening slide I had? It was of a mediocre photo. Keep your mediocre photos. You might have some fun with them. Okay, Phil, let's see. Let's get this out of the way somehow. Move it over here. Okay. Filters. Now let's go into Topaz. Filters. Topaz Studio and Studio 2 load seamlessly into Photoshop. I'm going down to Topaz Studio right now, and it's going to ask me that it's going to tell me I'm doing something that I'm going to cancel you. Thank you. Bye-bye. There it goes. I'm going to go down here to Chalk Smudge 2. Boom. And I've got a chalk smudge on this thing. Okay. Got to move you out of the way again. And I'm going to come over here to the slider. See how it's the sage brush, the sage weeds are a little bit too white down there. I'm going to bring that back down so the sage is not so white down there, and the vignette is not so strong on this thing. I'm going to go bingo. Okay. And it will go into Photoshop. Boom. Into Photoshop. You guys, I'm just moving. The Sarasota Camera Club is taking a ride. So I'm moving you guys all over the place. Okay, now, Kelvin Piemont brushes. They seamlessly look, when you download that, it's $100 right now, but recently it was the whole package of Piemont brushes and backdrops and whatever were like $27 recently. He goes on sale. Sign up for his newsletter. When he goes on sale, jump all over it for $27. It's amazing. So I'm going to hit B, shortcut for brushes. And I'm going to come over here using my bracketing tool. Bracketing tool on all your Photoshop brushes enlarges or shrinks. Your left bracketing shrinks it. Your right bracketing enlarges your brushes. Any brush that comes out of Photoshop, any tool, your bracketing enlarges and shrinks. I'm going to bring my opacity down to around 50%. And I'm going to pop a moon in there. It's too big. Edit, undo. My moon is too big. Okay, right about there. That looks more realistic to me. There was a moon there, if you guys recall. I just slightly altered it. It's just a slight alteration on the moon that used to be there. Remember, that was the first thing I took out in Photoshop, was that little white speck that was up there. So he's got moon brushes. He's got fog brushes. He's got headlight beam brushes. He's got, well, let's just look. There's my moon brush. And the moon brushes this is facing to the left. The moon is, the bright side is on the left side of the moon, but he's also, all these moon brushes, he's got a whole set of them here. You can see them, the moon brushes. Some of them will be on the right facing. Let's go down, let's slide down here on those brushes. Let's moon. He's got conceptual brushes. There's charcoal brushes. There's snow brushes where you put snow in a scene. There's lightning brushes where you can drop lightning bolts out of the sky on something. I haven't really played much with the lightning brushes. Let's see if I can find them real quick. I'll throw a lightning bolt at you guys. Just see how you like lightning in Florida. You Florida guys all warm and cozy down there. And we got, well, actually it was 60 something degrees up here in Southern Illinois. It wasn't bad. Flare brushes. You can flare things, edit, undo. I'm playing. I'm obviously playing. Let's see. History. I'm going to go back and there it is. Take that out. Let's see. Northern Lights. Turn this into like a green. Kind of a, what would a northern light color look like? Something like that, maybe. Hit okay, hit the opacity. I will bring the opacity down. Let's see if we can put northern lights in here. Oh my God. Now that I don't like that. You guys don't like it either, but it's just, I'm just giving you some things that you can do here. And I am going to move on. I'm not saving that. Okay.
Yeah, I just looked on the website for those brushes. They're $19 today only.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
One-time offer, $19.
See, he has all kinds of sales. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. He's amazing. This Kelvin Pymot stuff is amazing. And it just loads seamlessly into Photoshop. And I'll just give you an example of what I got here. Pymot overlays. Here's bokeh. Unzip it. View, extra large. View, extra large. Okay, so you can drop these in behind your kids. You could do, you know, make yourself look like a real professional studio photographer. Good stuff. There's just tons and tons of stuff on those Pymot overlays and brushes. There's crystal overlays, there's directional light beams, there's glow, there's grime, there's grunge, there's light particles, sparkles. You can just lose your mind in there. Okay. I'll just bring this up in Photoshop just as just something. The moon, remember me showing you the moon? Let me go to V. V is the move tool. It's not near as intrusive. Yeah, you can pop a moon behind a flying eagle. And you said you had eagles in Florida. I heard you. Osprey, popping it behind an osprey. I know you guys got them. Okay. I think what I'm going to do now, guys, and this lovely photo of this very handsome debonair gentleman, I popped this is a Kelvin Pymot backdrop. There's actually what was really behind me was a steam train. It wasn't near as glamorous as that. So this is play with your photography. It's fun. Okay. Let's say you got, oh, wait a minute. Let's bring that guy back up again. And let's go over here. Control J. All right. We're going to show you something now. I'm going to start going into the Nero filters in Photoshop. So I'm going to turn this into a black and white. I go to image, adjustments, black and white. Boom. I am now in black and white. So say you've scanned in a photo of grandma, grandpa, everything was taken back in the day, back in the black and white photos. Everything was black and white back then. So you think, man, I'd like to colorize a black and white photo, but man, it's so difficult to do that, you know, to get the skin tones and get them on there right and everything. Watch this. Filters. You go to filters. Nero Filters was one of the last, well, Photoshop for years and years did not upgrade their filters, and that allowed all these other outfits to come in there and sell filters to you. And then just this last upgrade in Photoshop, they threw out Nero Filters, and it was like, holy cow, this is artificial intelligence on steroids. So I'm going to click on Nero Filters and move you guys over here. Okay. So to colorize a photo, when you first click on a Nero filter and you've never used it before, it's going to ask you to download it. So yes, click yes, you download it. And I've already done that to this Colorize one. Some of these other ones I have not done. Skin smoothings, I haven't done that. But color, I have done it. So to turn on this Nero filter to colorize a black and white photo, I just click this on, and it automatically runs it. Boom. Look at what it did to my black and white photo. Now, is it true to form to what my original color photo was? Well, I'll show you here in a second. But before I do that, you can play with the sliders, warm it up, bring it back down. Let's see if that gives me no, that won't give it to me. There is one thing, a color artifact reduction has a way of smoothing out some of those colors. You can see it dulled me down just a little bit. And I bring it back and I've enriched it a little bit more. Noise reduction, you can play with that. If your image is a little too noisy, then hit OK. Okay. And now, okay. So I'm going to unclick the black and white. And so this background, my original photo was of me. And here's the colorized version. You're looking at it. I'm going to unclick the colorized version and you guys can see for yourselves what you think Photoshop did, how good it does for colorizing a black and white photo. There's the original. There's the colorized version. There's the black and white version. You go colorized, black and white, colorized. So the thing that I noticed immediately was it threw some hinky colors onto my shirt and my coat, but my skin tones turned out pretty good. It really did. It did a good job on skin tones. And the background colors, who cares about that? It's all bokeh. So, or bouquet or bouquet. How do the French say it? Bouquois. It's just whatever. I've heard several versions of, I just call it bokeh. So, all right. So there you have it on a colorized photo. I'm going to end that. So there's the first Nero filter. If you've never played in Photoshop, Nero filters. That went surprisingly smooth. I better knock on wood. So let's do it to a black and white landscape. Let's colorize a landscape. Filters, Nero filters. Colorize it. Boom. Move you guys. I'm gonna drop you guys. Yeah, where am I gonna put you guys? I'll just leave you over here. Okay. This one right here, I think works better if you move the bottom slider on this landscape. See, you've got a lot of kind of grainy up here and it's a little bit grainy there. I think it did a pretty good job on this. And there was a vignette on this scene. So the vignette turned kind of darker blue around the edges. Without the vignette, you wouldn't have had that on there. But watch when I move this color slider all the way over to the right. It has a tendency to smooth it out. And then I took the noise reduction all the way over and everything just kind of smoothed out. So I think it did a pretty fair job on colorizing the photo. Yeah, fair. This would probably be a little bit more gray looking, but I'll show you some tips and tricks on that later on. So that took care of that one. I got to hit OK or cancel. I'll just cancel out. And bye-bye. Okay. So now I'm going to show you a Nero filter that's just going to trip your trigger. Here it is. Okay. One of the tricks that painters have done for centuries is to gain separation from their main subject matter. You got several tricks. I'm getting a drink here. You got several tricks you can use to pop your main subject matter. And this iris it's pretty good. as far as separating itself from the background, but it's still a little bit busy, in my opinion, on the background, just a little bit. But artists, what they've done over the centuries is you put if you've got your main subject matter is kind of in cool colors, you put a warm backdrop behind it, or vice versa. If your main subject matter is light in light value, put a dark background behind it. If it's a dark main subject matter, you put a light background behind it. And artists could do that at will, at willy-nilly. But photographers had to kind of just work with the backgrounds that were available at the time. And now you can change out backgrounds if you want to. You can make a selection of your main subject matter and move it into whatever background scene you want, or you can go to filter, Nero filter, and depth blur. Now I've already downloaded, so I'm just going to turn it on. Boom. Now see, it's processing on drive right down here at the bottom, right below the flower. Okay. It didn't do too much, did it? You want to turn this focus subject box on, turn that on, and it's still not going to do too much. It's processing on drive. Okay. Still not too much difference. Okay. I'm cool with that, but I'm going to make some difference. So the blur strength is a tool. You can move that up and down. So I'm going to move that all the way to the right, and still not a whole lot of difference. But here's the real power right here, the haze slider. Now watch the background behind these irises. As I move that haze slider over, I'm gonna move it halfway first. Processing on drive down there at the bottom. Okay, did you see that difference there? Now I'm gonna move it 100%, that haze slider. Okay. So, and you can go anywhere in between with your background. And so how do I know that what it selected for my main subject matter? Well, right here, it'll show you. You see this down here on the bottom right corner, output depth map. I click that box, and it's like the blur filter, depth blur filter made a mask of my main subject matter. And this works really good on simple subject matters. Now on complicated subject matters, definitely check that box to see if it got everything you wanted. If it didn't, I can't help you at that point because I'm not sure what it would do, but on this iris, it did a marvelous job. So I think the background is a little too soft, so I'm gonna back that haze slider off just a little bit more. Okay, I'm good with that. But here's what I want to do. The iris and the background are pretty much similar in color values. So I'm going to warm up that background because that's what it's really mainly playing. Now, when I move this slider to the right, it's going to affect the colors a little bit on the irises, but not much. But it will definitely affect the colors on the background. So it warmed them up. See, you can see how it warmed it up. Now I'm going to put the saturation slider up just a little bit more. And it definitely warmed it up. Now you got the cool colors against the warm colors. The trick artists, Renaissance artists, and every artist ever since is used to pop their main subject out away from the background and give a sense of depth to their images. So I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to give you the original scene. There's your original scene. And there's the depth blur effect on a set of iris. These are wild irises too, out there in the refuge, wildlife refuge. So did it pop it out? Did it give a sense of depth, change the depth feel about the whole thing? Darn right. Yeah, it did. But I used it in two steps, changing the warmth versus the cool foreground element. And then I also increased the blur and the haze to get that depth. two things to keep in mind when you use that Nero filter. Okay, I'm going to cancel that one out. And now we're going to get real crazy. It's going to get what? So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle up. Look at this. Okay, this is going to be a wild ride here. First thing I'm going to do with this barn scene, it's a spring barn scene with a sunrise on it. It's good old Southern Illinois barns. So I'm going to go to Edit, Sky Replacement, and I'm going to pop skies in there. Boom. Now, I'll give you a brief, if you've never done sky replacement, I'm going to give you a brief little run through this. It did a pretty good job. Look at the sky. Look at the edges. Look at in between the trees. Photoshop sky replacement, it keeps getting refined. It's getting amazingly good. But there's some sliders in here that you can play with to make it even better if you want to. Shift edges. See, if I shift the edges off the trees, it gets a little hinky looking. So bring your shift. Look at your edges. Look closely at it. Use your magnifier if you need to. Get in on all those trees. Brightness, I can brighten up the sky. I can darken the sky. What I'm going to do here, I guess I should have explained what I'm going to do to start with, is I'm going to turn this spring barn scene into a winter barn scene. And you're going to think, no way, that guy can't do that. Just sit back and watch. Okay, scale. If I bring the scale slider in too far, or wait a minute, move it out. Wait a minute, see. Yeah, move it out too far. You can see the edges of my sky scene are showing up in the image. You don't want to do that. You want to get it right to the edges, or get it close to the edges using your slider. Or you can zoom in and make the clouds bigger by moving your slider to the right if you want bigger clouds. It may not work well with that scene. I'm going to kind of move it back to the right close to the edges. Let's get right there on the edges. Okay. Another cool feature on this right here is I can flip those clouds. Check that box and watch what happens. Boom. The clouds now are upside down, actually, from what I originally photographed them. So, but it may work better in the scene. One thing to always keep in mind when you add a sky scene to a photo, the light that is coming into that cloud scene needs to match the light that's coming onto your main subject matter, onto your landscape. If you've got light coming in from the left, it's hitting the clouds all on the left side. The left side of the clouds are all lit up, but the right side of your main subject matter, the barns, is all on the left side. When you show that to people, they may think, oh, that's cool, but there's something not right about that. And the average person may not pick up on it right away, but subliminally, something's not right, and it's registering with them. Somebody who knows photography and knows art or whatever would probably pick up on it pretty quick. I had some of my students in my class got so excited about sky scenes, they just threw them all over everything. And then when she posted them on Facebook, I said, I love your sky scenes, but I said, in as diplomatic a way as possible, just pay attention to the direction of the light in the sky, as well as the light on your main subject matter. They need to match. She looked at me and said, oh yeah. Said, oh yeah. So, okay. Sky scenes. Okay. Photoshop comes, if you've never done this, Photoshop comes loaded with some sky scenes, but not many you can play with. So you can add your own sky scenes. So look at here. If you want to put in a different sky scene, you can come down to this little box right here, click on it, and it will take you to your computer, or I go to the desktop and sky scenes. There's my sky scenes folders, guys. And I go out and photograph in the field skies. These California sunsets, I bought them. It's the only set there that I bought, but everything else, I photograph dark skies. So I create folders inside my sky scene folder, subfolders, dark clouds, mostly cloudy, partly cloudy, sunset, sunrise, blah, blah, blah. I could name the clouds like cumulus and whatever clouds are called if I knew their names, but I don't. I know what a cumulus cloud looks like. Wispy clouds look like wispy clouds, but there's a meteorological name for them. Don't ask me what it is, but you can create your own folders and subfolders so you can marry the right sky to the right scene that you want to replace the sky in. So then once you load it in Photoshop, it stays in this little sky scene folder right here. So you can see I've got quite a few of them in here now. There was not near this many to begin with. So, okay, we got the sky. Well, what happened to my sky? You dirty dog. All right, let's bring that back again. Edit. Oh, I didn't click OK, I guess. Sky replacement. Boom. I got to click OK. That's what happens. Okay, there it is. Okay. So, I'm going to slide you guys off over. There you go. Let me move this out of here just a second. Will that give me a ability to drop it down? Okay, I'll just drop it down right over here. Okay, it's going to do what it wants. Okay, another thing I want to tell you guys about sky scenes is play with these eyeballs. See that? You see where it lightened and darkened up on the edges? You may or may not want to keep that particular layer in your layers palette. It may be interfering with something. So sometimes I will drag one of these things off into the trash can. Right there's the trash can. And because I don't like what it's doing to the edges of my horizon. So I'm going to marry this, but I like how this is all turning out. So I'm going to hold down the shift key, get the bottom layer of this. All these are skies. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go merge layers. All the ones that are linked, I just merged them. So now I've got a sky scene and I've got the background. Okay. Now is where it just gets crazy and wild. Nero Filters. All right. Let's turn this into a winter wonderland. I was really going to get just kind of smart ass and use a Florida scene and turn it into a winter wonderland. But I thought, don't push your luck, Killman. All right. So I'm using a Southern Illinois scene here. It's landscape mixers, what you want to go to. If you want to, and when I click it on, look at all these different styles of landscapes I can choose from. Of kind of, it's an effect that you want to put on it. So I'm gonna choose the winter one, and the Nero filter is moving right now. And look what it did. I'm not crazy what it did to my sky, but I'm going to show you how to fix that. Okay, move this over. And okay, so the strength is at 100%. I could back that off. And it's still not giving me a winter look, is it? Well, it kind of changed the clouds a lot. Didn't do much else. Oh, I know why it didn't do anything. I got to cancel out of that. Boom. Cancel out. Okay. I got to marry these two down. Merge two. Now I'm going to make a Control J, make a copy. Okay. Now I'm going to go to Nero Filters. Why did I make a copy of that? So I could do some erasing. And I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. Filters, Nero Filters, landscape, winter wonderland. Okay. Now the strength slider is at 100%. It's going to really mess with the whole scene now, not just my sky. There it goes. And it's like, what the heck did you just do, Killman? And it really messed up my barn. So there's a winter slider. There's an autumn slider. You can turn this into an autumn scene. You can turn this into a summer scene. It was already a spring scene, not Bruce Springsteen, a spring scene and sunset. I'm not going to turn it into a sunset, but I am going to turn it into a winter scene. So I'm going to play with the winter slider. Watch this. Boom, hit winter. Now my processing on device is going on right now. And boom, I got winter down here. Okay, it's still not looking good. And it's like, okay, I don't like that. What am I going to do? I could go more wintry. It went more wintry. I like that. Let's go all the way to nearly 100% on the winter scene. And you're thinking, yeah, this ain't doing it for me, Killman. Hold on. I'll show you some magic. Processing on device. Boom. Okay, now we're getting a little bit better. Okay, so that's a little bit better, more like winterly. I'm going to click that. I could back that off a little bit. Let's see if that helps out a little bit. No, I like the more snow on there. Okay, I'm going to click OK. Now, there's going to be several changes about to happen here. I'm going to W, which is the selection tool, quick selection tool. I'm going to make my brush using my bracketing key large. I'm going to click right here into the barn. And why am I clicking in there is because I want those bright red colors that I originally had in the barn scene to show through. I click E is for eraser. And it gave me my eraser. I got a big, huge eraser now, and I'm actually going to make it much larger. And some of you might be wondering, well, if you're going to do a lot of erasing, it's going to erase all kinds of things. While I've got the marching ants, the front of this barn selected, it won't touch anything but what's inside those marching ants. So opacity is at 17%. I'm going to go around, opacity sliders are, there it goes. One left clicked and I dragged it across there. I'm going to drag it across there one more time. I like that. One more time. Boom. I think I'm going to go back. Edit, undo that last one. I'm going to leave it just a little bit on the brighter side. If I hold down Control and I hit D, the marching ants disappear. I'm going to go W again. And I'm going to select the side of this barn because I want some of that red to show through also. And I'm selecting the barn. I'm going to hit E for eraser again. And I'm clicking in there and I'm bringing back the red of the barn. Control D eliminates that. I got my barn back. Now, W again, and click in there, click in here. Click over there and hit E for eraser. And I'm taking, I want the colors on this barn to kind of, the sunrise colors to kind of show through. Okay, Control D takes care of those marching ants again. And I'm going to zoom in. I hit Z for zoom tool, put it right where I want to go, right over here. Part of this barn didn't get erased, so I'm going to hit E for eraser. I'm going to bring my eraser down, and I'm just going to erase part of the barn right in here and part of the barn up there that didn't make it on that original selections, but it's still part of the barn. Let's get that out of there. Let's get that out of there and that out of there. Okay, they match up fairly good. So now the colors of the barn are back. And you're thinking, well, that looks a little bit better. I'm going to merge that down to this next layer down. And now there's the original scene. You might like that better. I kind of still do. But then I've turned it into a winter wonderland. But there's something still I could make this thing look a lot better. I'm going to hit E for eraser. And I'm making a big brush. See how big that brush is now? I made a little bit smaller there. Opacity is around 40%. I'm going to bring it down to around 13, 20%. And I didn't like what Nero Filters, the winter filter, did to the sky. I liked my old sky better. So watch this. I'm going to bring back the colors. I'm erasing this top layer, and it's letting the bottom layer colors show through. The original colors of that sky show through. So I'm erasing it out using my eraser tool. And I'm just kind of going along the edge of the top here. And I'm going to bring back my colors of the sky. I'm going to bring them back even more to make this look a little bit more realistic. Let's go down to there. And boom. Now, is that crazy or what? I was showing this in class when it did work for briefly, and it's like, you could do that? And I said, yeah. And she says, well, I can photograph. I got a photograph of my kids all on the back porch, and I can put them in all 4 seasons. I said, well, I hadn't thought about it in those terms, but yeah, you could literally put your kids in the spring, summer, fall, all in the same shot and put it up on a collage on the wall, all 4 seasons. You can even put snow on their head if you wanted to. So there's your original. You might like that better, but do you think, well, it's not doing too bad a job in the snow scene either. I got a little snow on the barn there. Let me let me bring that down. Go much higher opacity, and I can chunk up this snow. Well, I'm taking part of the haze off that barn by doing that, but see, you can see what I'm talking about here. Let's go edit, undo that. So yeah, you can make magic. You can do whatever you want. You can play with your images. I'm not going to save any of that. I think that's pretty much got everything I wanted to show you guys tonight. I think we're probably have we run a little over an hour, guys?
We did.
Okay, that's enough then for one night. So I think you guys got any questions for me?
Maybe Jeff could give us that link that he talked about.
The link to the Plymouth brushes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff, can you send that to everybody? Well, you got all the email addresses, so yeah, you'd have to do that.
I'm still here. I got to go back to that tab.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't
I can find it. I just looked him up on the web and went to his website. So I may have closed
Kris,
that tab.
just spell his name for us.
Kelvin, 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 Pymont, Pimont.
Hey, Kris.
Yeah.
Do his filters work in Lightroom?
Yes. Yes. Everything that Pymont sells. And when I went up on a photo trek to this, there's a national camera club called NPEG, National Photographers Enthusiast Group, that I'm a member of. And I'm also one of the group leaders in there, that we go around on photo treks around the country. And we were just up in Iowa, and these Kelvin Pymont packages were a big hit up there. When I started talking about it, we're sitting, when you're on a group shoot with a lot of photographers, you're sitting around eating at mom and pop shops, and you're like, well, you're not doing much photography. You're really out there to eat more than anything. But we're talking about Pymont brushes, and everybody's ears perked up. Well, what's that? What do those do? Well, there's just a ton of stuff. I downloaded them, and then the brushes seamlessly went into Photoshop, but his textures, well, his Pymont overlays, they're overlays. I can show you a few more of them. go in here, metal, view.
I mean,
extra large.
interrupt you,
Yeah.
but they're changing the prices on the website. It went from 19 to 27 just now.
Oh,
So
so
it was like 95% off. Now it's 90% off.
Yeah.
Actually, Jeff, the $19 was for a different set of brushes.
Oh, that's right.
so-
No, yeah, that was Lightroom. This is
Yes.
Photoshop.
okay.
And the website is kelvindesigns.com. All one word, Kelvin Designs. So KelvinDesigns.com.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate that. And then you can, if you buy the whole package, like the $100 one is what I bought here. It's although he does put this on sale for like $29 for the whole package occasionally. If you subscribe to his newsletter, then you can get all these overlays like this right here for backdrops on things. And let me go back. Okay, that was metal. Let me fiber. I'll just show you these guys. The fiber view, extra large icons. Of course, you want to open in Lightroom or Bridge. Yeah. So I'll just scroll through them real quick. These are some of the backdrops I used to create this slideshow. You got all these different versions, so escape, get out of that. And let's see, let me show you a couple more here if you guys are interested in this stuff. But see, I created a separate folder on my desktop, so it's in my face and I remember that they're there. I put these things out there where I know where my tools are at. You got smoke, sparkles, studio I don't know what studio presets does. Wood is kind of cool. The bokeh presets are pretty cool. There's just several cool stuff. Light rays, mist. If you're into, what's the word I'm looking for? I just had a brain fart. Collage. It's collage or composites. Look, these are things you could use in composites big time. All my mural projects are composites. I might have 20, 30 layers in a Photoshop mural that if I design murals, I design them all in Photoshop for the most part. And there might be 20 or 30 layers. I might use some of this stuff occasionally to, make a backdrop on something. Or you can put them behind, into anything you wanted to put them into. So I didn't get into Topaz filters too much, but I will say this: Topaz 2. Is everybody using Topaz 2 AI Clear? Oh my!
Chris, let me jump in here for a second. Topaz Studio 1 is no longer available for download.
They're not going to let it download. Okay.
They will not. It's you have to buy Studio 2. If you already own Studio 1, you got it. It's yours forever. There will be no more updates to it. So
right. I knew that. That's been a few years. They just kind of shut it down. They went with Studio 2. They came out with AI Clear, which is there again. It's a part of a lot of pros, especially wildlife photographers. Here's the thing about AI Clear in Studio 2 that just really strikes me. A lot of times if you're photographing wildlife, you're out in the field, you are in low light because you want to be out there at sunrise or sunset when the critters are feeding or they're coming out. And so if you're in low light and you're a wildlife photographer, you got to crank your ISO up, and then crank your ISO up. You all know what that does. It adds noise to your images. So up till, I was teaching your cutoff is 800 on ISO unless you really want to inject noise on your images. But now with AI Clear, I can shoot at 12,800 ISO. And that allows me, and I can still clean up the image. I prefer not to show an image, even through AI Clear at that, but anything below 12,000, I can clean it up beautifully in AI Clear. So I can shoot now. What AI Clear has allowed photographers to do, and denoise, the Topaz denoise is just equally as good, is to just photograph in super low light and still get the shots. So it really increases your range of keepers. I highly recommend Topaz 2 and it making part AI clear part of your workflow when you're in your post-production. It's magic. It's just awesome. I've done it now for a couple of years and never looking back. And it's allowed me to crank up ISOs that were unheard of in years before. So it's real how they got AI clear to sharpen and denoise in one click, one filter is beyond me, because they're diametrically opposed to each other. Because if you sharpen something, you're making the pixels a little crispy. If you're denoising something, you're softening the pixels. But somehow Topaz come up with an algorithm, it's artificial intelligence, that married the two together and it works. And so
and there are sliders in the AI clear where you can adjust, put a little more, put a little less. So
yes, and use the sliders, play with them, in any filter. And AI clear is a filter, but it's one that a lot of the top pros are just, it's just a permanent part of the workflow now. So I can't recommend that one enough. And that's in Topaz 2. It's the very first. And Topaz 2 also has several artistic filters in it also, but they've combined their artistic filters with their filters that help you denoise or sharpen or, do various other things to your photography. So
what I do with it, I create my own filters and looks. I'll take theirs. And when you expand them, after you hit OK, you can expand them and see what components they have. You can go to their individual filters, learn how they work. And you can actually go in and replace some of the components for their custom looks, create and save your own. And then if you ever change computers, there's a folder. If you ever get stuck, I can tell you where they're at and you can save them. So I've got probably about 300 of my own looks created.
Oh, nice.
And various things. So it's very useful, very flexible.
Yeah. Topaz will allow you to create your own looks and combine all kinds of different filters together and so on and so forth. I haven't done that so much, but I have got my favorites. So Topaz will create favorite folders. And so you could just click in there and those some of my favorite looks that I like are in that favorite folder. But yeah, that's a great thing to pass on, Jeff, because you can create custom filters, your own custom filters, and create, which really in a lot of ways makes it your own kind of unique style with custom filters that you've created. So
I have some that I always go to for certain types of pictures.
Right. Exactly.
And you can vary their intensity and you can actually even pull out subcomponents if you need to.
Yeah, it's like setting custom functions on your camera, one for wildlife, one for landscape, one for single shot, one for multiple burst shots. So yeah, very cool. Yeah.
I have a question, change the subject if I may.
Sure, absolutely.
Kris, I believe you mentioned that the Skylum Luminar 4 was free, and I went online looking for it and I can't find it, the free version. It's $89.
Okay, let me go here to Facebook. I'm not supposed to take you guys right here to this one, Skylum Professional. All right. Luminar 4 is now free. Let me see what we got here. Enhance your photography with Luminar 4. Okay. There's your, let me see if I can bring this down a little bit.
Can you copy that link and put it in the chat?
That I'm not sure I can do. It's being blocked by this up here at the top. How do I get rid of that up there?
Yeah, I went to their website and they immediately sent me to B&H and it's $89.
Okay.
Kris, do you have to be a member of that group to get that discount, you think?
No.
Okay, what's the name of the Facebook group again?
Well, I don't know if you'd be able to, non-members are not allowed to get on that. I'm sorry. I probably said it wrong. Not allowed to be on NPEG. You can, it's $100 to join the group. But it's
What's the acronym again?
NPEG, N as in Nancy, PEG.
I found skylum.com. You can go there and it says you can get the Luminar 4 photo editor free.
There you go. Can you send that to the rest of the members? Or send it to somebody who has the membership list?
Yeah, what was the website be? The website?
Yes, it's skylum.com.
Yes, Skylum.
I went there and I'll try it again. Okay.
I did it on my phone. And all you have to do is put your name and email in it. I don't know what the terms are though, because you know how that goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're giving it away because they have Luminar AI. I use Luminar AI. And
I was able to download a free trial of AI, but I was really looking for the free Luminar 4. I'll try it again.
There's Luminar 4. I'm bringing it back up on my screen. There again, the God rays or sunbeams is just crazy cool.
I was impressed.
That especially in Florida, you guys get a lot of beach scenes like this. You get a lot of cloudy, partly cloudy days. You get the rain comes and goes in Florida so much that you can add these sunbeams wherever you want, and nobody's going to know the difference unless they ask you. And if they ask you, you could say, "Yeah, I added that in there." Oh, you can do that? Or, well, I would never do that to a photo. You may get a whole range of different responses, but who cares? All that matters is that you're happy with the final edit of your photo, and that you think it definitely looks better than the original photo. So there's, kind of like without, and then there's not one with now. I eliminated it. It went by. Yeah, it went bye-bye. I can put another one in any of these. This is just giving me different looks here of the original photo. But so, yeah, and there's several places you can, especially in and around partly cloudy days where the sun is like peeking up, a sunrise or sunset, or trees are in the foreground. You can pop in some rays in through trees. There's several applications for that sunbeam. And you can get that wow factor. And just being in classroom and teaching students who've never seen these sort of things, and then all of a sudden you hear your students go, "Oh, wow, it does that." Well, that just made my day. But the game is rigged. I'll tell you this, I got a biology teacher that's in my class. She taught for 30 years biology at Carbondale Community High School. And she's doing this to me intentionally because she says, that's what I wanted my students to do to me. Go, "Oh, wow, it does that. Oh, wow." I was like, "Oh, okay." So, but still, these are the things you want your students to see, that, oh my God, it can do these sort of things. You can play. And, just telling somebody they have the right to play with their photography. Sometimes it's like, "Oh, I can do that." Yeah. You have the copyrights to it. You took the picture, didn't you? Play with it.
Hey, Kris, we're reaching a point now. I think some people are nodding off, and not because of you, but because we're just old folk.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
I just wanted to say, David James, if you're listening to me, and Gary Wong, if you're listening to me, while Kris was talking, I bought the package, so you two guys are the go-to guys. So
there you go. Cool.
In any event, I really, really appreciate the insights and the tips, and I, for one, I'm looking forward to playing with some of this.
Oh yeah, that's the attitude. That's you got Vince. You got a young man's curiosity. It doesn't come with your age. You've kept it, and you've kept it with you, and that is commendable.
I do what Clint Eastwood says: get up every morning, look in the mirror, and don't let that old man in.
There you go. I like it. I love Clint.
Real quick, Chris.
Yes.
I'm
yes.
on the asylum.com website, and it says AI powered photo editor. It says buy now, and then underneath it says special offer included, free download. So is that what you're talking about?
Nope.
I'm not on that site, so I don't know. Somebody else sounds like they're on the site.
No, I'm not on the site, but I don't think that's the download. Doesn't sound like it.
Okay. My version of Luminar 4 is about 2-3 years old, maybe older. I bought it when it first came out with sky replacement, and so that it's several years old. But it was really about I think it was the leader that came out with sky replacement, and then everybody else like, oh, look what these guys are doing. So I don't know, Carol. I'm sorry, I can't help you on that.
Okay.
But just look around on there and see what you can come up with.
Okay.
I'm not, but Photoshop sky replacement's better. I'm gonna tell
I'm
you
just downloading it now by
Okay.
just putting my name and my email address, and then it redirects me to the free PC download.
Okay.
I've had pretty good luck with the sky
gives you
replacement.
the
Sorry, go ahead.
software key for it as well.
Guys, good luck on that. I hope it works. You could send me questions. Vince, I think you got my email address.
I do.
Okay. Scott, I think he's got it. Carol's got my email address. So if you guys got any questions, feel free to email me.
I have one question now.
Yeah.
Do you have a part 2 in mind somewhere down the road?
I've got 72 lesson plans that I created for my students, 72. And,
You're the man.
so if you guys are in a jam, just give me a call. I'll throw something at you. I've done some webinars for NPEG already are in the bag. So I could just actually pull one of them out and just kind of throw it at you. So yeah, I don't know about, well, actually I have several lesson plans on composition, on photography composition, several of them. And a lot of times people like those better than the technical stuff. They want the more artistic stuff, or how to compose, or what to look for, and how to compose, and the use of negative space, things like that. Yeah, give me a call sometime or send me an email and we'll figure it out.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You betcha. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
I
thing
appreciate
you said
everybody
real quick,
being
thank you.
here.
What's that,
This
Vince?
is-
I'm sorry. I just appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate you, Chris, for your enthusiasm and your talent. It's just infectious.
Yeah, it's good. It keeps you going. It gives you a reason to get out of bed, and like you said, that mirror on the wall with Clint Eastwood, turn around, keep on moving.
Absolutely.
Yep, I hear you. Well, I hope to see you guys all in April. I'll be down in Florida. I'll just wave as I go by, but we're going to be heading down to the East Coast.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me know. Maybe I can meet up with you guys somewhere.
There you go.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right,
All right.
guys.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Everybody drive safely home.
All right. Yeah, there you go. All right, bye.